Home of the real fair and balanced. Welcome back to Midpoint. Let's return to our conversation. Ron Hosko, former assistant director of the FBI's criminal division. Ron, you recently wrote about the newly designed smartphone encryption systems. Many of these manufacturers now say once it's encrypted, we can't get into it. There's nothing we can do. Do these people not realize that in some ways they are empowering the criminals by being able to allow them these sorts of spaces? These are hiding places for people. These are things that the cops need to get to, correct?
That's absolutely true. I think that they fully realize that and that this is about commerce and this is about profits. I think that our government, my former colleagues in the FBI, DOJ, and others have really done, frankly, a poor job of untangling the issues related to the Edward Snowden disclosures, what another three-letter agency in our government was doing, and the challenges of law enforcement. I think that there is a mistaken perception in our society today that this monolithic government of ours collects everything we say and do. It has it in a big repository, and law enforcement agencies like the FBI, others at the federal level, and the police can go diving into that data, looking at your pictures, reading your emails, and listening to your phone calls freely. And nothing could be further from the truth.
Who is then at fault? You said untangling the issues here. Who is at fault then in not being able to do this? Because it seems as if we have something that may stop terror, that may stop criminals, that may stop drugs, killings, whatever it is, that somebody would want to get right on top of this and make sure this gets done. But somebody's got to be in the way.
Right. I think that post-Snowden disclosures, which seem to continue very painfully on a periodic, episodic basis, that the government, whether that's the FBI, DOJ, or others, haven't placed themselves in the position to be loud on this issue. That we're all recoiling from the leakage of Snowden and what the NSA was doing or was allegedly doing, and no one has effectively pulled back and said, here's the reality of how the FBI works or how law enforcement works. Make no mistake, and I said it the other day on another show, that the Springfield Police Department is not going to be able to go to NSA and say, I need super secret encryption techniques to pull critical information off this phone related to a kidnapping. The NSA is not going to have that conversation, and we are going to have occasions, whether it's in a violent kidnapping or some other violent crime, where we do have a ticking bomb or somebody's life is going to end, where we're not going to be able to save them.
Ron, do you fear that to this point right now, that this political correctness that has been embraced by this administration is costing and has cost lives?
I think it is causing great harm. We see it in child exploitation matters on the Onion router, where investigative techniques that we used identify tens of thousands of child predators gathered up in the darkest places of our internet because they think it's safe, and where we have limited ability to penetrate that and identify who the participants are. We're going to see that in national security cases. We're going to see it in terrorist cases. We're going to see it in violent crimes cases and in other places where we cannot peel back the layers and expose these conspiracies. People are going to get hurt. And I think the FBI director put his marker down on that issue.
I got about 90 seconds left here. Is there any doubt in your mind that profiling, and people bristle at this all the time, the word itself, but when it comes down to police work, there is a level of profiling that has to be done. It is the only way in order to get the job done and find the bad guys. You don't want to go over the edge or over the line, but there's a level that has to be used. Is that correct?
That's right. Law enforcement should make informed decisions about who the likely perpetrators are in a particular set of circumstances. And that cannot always be done with a blindfold on. The notion that we are going to search a 90-year-old lady going through security at the airport and let others pass with a mind toward not profiling any particular person, to me, seems absurd. And ridiculous. And I think we need to have open and productive conversations about it. Some of that starts on Capitol Hill.
15 seconds. Will a new administration in 2014 through midterms and 2016 with the president change all this?
I hope so. As a citizen myself, who's very concerned about some of these issues, there has to be a dialogue between 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and the folks at the other end of it, down on Capitol Hill. And we need that dialogue. We need to put the right witnesses on the in front of the cameras, down on Capitol Hill, and start to rethink where we are as a country.
Ron Hosko, an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, and thank you so much for speaking the truth. I look forward to the next time we talk.
My pleasure.
All right, later on this hour, the one thing Americans must demand from every politician in every midterm race. That's my focus in telling it like it is. And after the break, why would Latino voters want to stay with the president after he has failed them so many times? The arena's open for business. That and so much more when we come back, right here on Midpoint, where we question everything.